Okay, I wanted to talk about if you are thinking about teaching abroad in South Korea, you're going to have to decide if you want to teach for a Hagwon, which is a private school, or probably the EPIC program, which is the state school system. There are advantages and disadvantages to both. What I did is I did a Hagwon, so it was a private school, and I taught kindergarten and elementary school students, and they also had middle school students as well. And it had some really great things about it. Mainly the pay was probably more than you would get with the EPIC program. And it was a really nice school. It was very clean, efficient for the most part. And I mean, partly that's because what the parents paid to put their kids in that school was most likely an exorbitant amount. I don't really know. They didn't tell the foreign teachers how much that was, but it was a lot. And I taught with, I think there were about 12, including me, 12 foreign teachers at this school. So there was a big community of other foreign teachers. We were all going through the same things, so we could all talk about our challenges and our problems, and it was just really great having other foreigners there that you can kind of relate your issues or problems or what's going on. And with the EPIC program, I don't know too much about it because I haven't done it, but chances are you might be the only foreigner at the school, or there might just be a couple more. Now with the EPIC program, you would get more time off, and the days might be a little bit more structured in terms of times. Like, I worked at my Hagwon, my private school. Classes were 9:30 to about 6:30. And then I came earlier to lesson plan as well. And then sometimes we had to come to work on a Saturday to do like things like parent-teacher things and these slideshows. Anyway, with EPIC, I know you do get more time off for holidays. We did not get that much time off at my private school. I would have wished for a lot more, and if you were sick at the private school, it's kind of like tough luck. You're going to have to work when you're sick. There's nothing worse than being sick in a foreign country and having to go to work all day with kids. That is so difficult, and I've done that so many times, and I don't want to ever have to do that again. It's tough not having sick days. But I might recommend starting off with a Hagwon, especially if you're concerned about your student loans. Because generally you do make a good amount of money. How you get the job for Korea is usually go through a recruitment agency. So there's these websites, you can just Google like recruitment South Korea, English teaching online, and you'll find several of them. And you apply to the recruitment agency. And they decide, okay, we'll accept you, hopefully, and they will find a school for you, a Hagwon for you. So you kind of has to have two steps. So you have to first get accepted by the recruitment agency, and then you have to be accepted by the school. But the recruitment agency is pretty good because they kind of figure everything out for you, handle all the communications between you and the school, which is good because sometimes at your school there might not be that many great English speakers. And you don't really get to decide where you want to go. In terms of South Korea, I didn't really have a specific preference. I mean, I didn't want to be really rural, out in the countryside. And what I got was Gwangju, which is the 6th largest city in South Korea. And South Korea is a small country, so it's a pretty small city. And it was more in the southern region of South Korea, and it was about maybe 6 hours from Seoul. Can't quite remember. But overall, looking back on it, I'm really glad I got placed in a smaller city. Because if you want to work in Seoul, and you get placed in Seoul, you'll have so much fun, I'm sure. I love Seoul, it's an amazing city, but you're not going to get quite as an authentically Korean experience. In my town of Gwangju, there were a couple foreigner bars, but really on my day-to-day, walking around, you don't really see many foreigners, other than the other workers who work at your school. So you get to go to Korean restaurants and see Korean culture and Korean people. You're not just mixed in with all your foreigner group. You're forced to go outside your comfort zone and walk in all these restaurants and shops and things that you might not if you just have the opportunity to, eat at Outback Steakhouse and McDonald's, There's plenty of that in Seoul. I mean, there's plenty of other things in Seoul that it's amazing, but I'm glad. It got me to force myself out of my comfort zone a little more than I might have. So it's a blessing and a curse. You kind of don't get to decide, but it could work out for you. Epic, I think they're a little bit more, lenient about taking your considerations into mind. I have two friends, coworkers, and after doing the Hagwon for a year, they did Epic in Busan, which is the second largest city in Korea, and they knew they wanted to go to Busan. Busan was where they wanted to teach. They had lived in Korea like I did for a little over a year, and knew that Busan was where they wanted to be. Rightly so, because Busan is amazing. It's a beach town. Beach city is the second largest city. It's wonderful. And so yeah, they're working at Epic now in Busan. So it's really, it's what you want to do. You're going to have to research both sides and figure out what will fit you personally best. Yeah, I mean, good luck. I'm definitely open for if you want to, send me a message or something about specific questions about, which Hagwon I worked at, or more specifics about what it was like working for a private school, and I might get into that a little bit later. We'll see. Versus, what a public school situation might be like. Anyway, so that is Hagwon versus Epic. Thank you. Goodbye.